So one question we commonly get is about police stops and can you be stopped for any reason at all?
No. In order for the police to stop you and pull you over, they have to have reasonable suspicion. Reasonable suspicion is defined by reasonable, articulable facts that indicate a crime is occurring. This has to be more than a mere hunch, so the officers can't just think something is happening or have a feeling. They have to have those reasonable, articulable facts.
Right. When you talk about what an officer thinks, I mean, there's case law on this issue, specifically about what an officer believes versus what is an objective fact. There's a case where an officer testified that he believed that the defendant ran a red light. And the court said, well, what you believe does not matter. You have to be able to prove that he did run the red light or that an objective, reasonable officer would have believed that that traffic offense occurred. And if an attorney can disprove the reason for the stop, show that there wasn't those specific articulable facts more than that mere hunch, that is fruit of the poisonous tree is the doctrine that allows the rest of the case to be suppressed against you. And so if we're able to prove that there wasn't reason for the stop in the first place, then any drugs that they find, any DUI arrests, commonly will end up being dismissed because they're never able to get to that point. Which leads to the question as far as these stops go, what can an officer do when they stop you for, let's say, speeding? Do they just write you a citation, let you go, or when can they go past that?
Yeah, so reasonable suspicion, like Emily talked about for a traffic stop, is what an officer needs in order to pull you over for speeding. Once they pull you over for speeding, they can only hold you as long as necessary to complete the paperwork to either write you a warning ticket, write you a citation, or whatever it is that they're doing to effectuate that need for the traffic stop. In order to extend that stop into something like a DUI investigation, what we would commonly see, they are going to need additional reasonable suspicion, those specific and articulable facts to show that they can point to that say this person is potentially impaired, and then they can further that DUI investigation by getting you out of the car and asking you to do things like field sobriety tests, those kinds of things. They get those things from their DUI training. They're looking for things like slurred speech, unsteadiness on feet, red watery eyes, those kinds of things. And they need to be able to point to specific reasons why they believe you're impaired, as opposed to them just having, like Emily said, a hunch that you were driving, speeding, or failing to maintain your lane, just a hunch that you might be impaired. They need to have specific things that they can point to that says, this is why I think this. Andrew, how do you recommend that someone that's stopped by the police for something like speeding behave while this interaction is going on?
So whether it's speeding or anything else, whenever you're getting stopped by the officer, we're not having court on the side of a road, right? So it's one that when you've been stopped, whether it's for speeding, whether it's for something more severe, whatever it is don't be combative, don't fight with officers. We're not trying to pick up a resisting arrest on top of everything else. The first thing that we're going to do on every single case is we are going to get the body camera. Right, we're going to get the dash camera. We're going to see how the officer conducted the stop. And like Emily, Dakota, and Brandon have talked about, is before we ever have a hearing, before we ever have motions dates or anything like that, we're going to be able to investigate and determine whether or not the officer had those reasonable and articulable facts to stop you in the first place. So don't resist, don't fight, don't be combative, take your court date and call an attorney.
Yeah. Let us do the job on the back end. Don't make the job
Exactly.
more difficult for us to do.
Mm-hmm.